2024 Shaw University Athletic Hall of Fame inductee in football, Christopher Peavy.
You guys hear me? Wow, it's a great accomplishment to be standing here today. You don't realize how much like blood, sweat, and tears goes into to being a college athlete. Getting to this level is like, you know, everyone doesn't get to this level. And I have the privilege to coach kids now. And, you know, when I tell them I'm going to the Hall of Fame, you should see their eyes like, wow, you must be really good. And I'm like, I was all right. So, but you know, that's one of the things that's always kind of separated me is like, I've always had that positive discontent. Like I've always felt that I can be better. I wasn't always the biggest. I wasn't always the fastest. I wasn't always the strongest, but no one was gonna outwork me. And I carried that work ethic to Shaw University, and that's what made me a Hall of Famer. So, first off, and that wasn't part of my speech, I actually had like 11 minutes, and I found out it was supposed to be 3, so I had to cut it down a lot. But I guess we can go a little bit longer. So, first off, I want to thank God, because without him, I wouldn't be here today. And I'm literally meaning I wouldn't be here today. And I'll get into that story later on in my speech. Just standing here on the campus of Shaw University, where I spent, you know, some wonderful years. Walking into this gym, I remember being here for pajama parties, watching the women's basketball team, the men's basketball team, running up and down this court because it was raining outside and we didn't have an indoor facility. So just imagine, you know, 70, 80 sweaty guys here running. It was pretty bad. So, you know, it just brings back so many memories. Just stepping foot on this campus and, you know, this moment in my life, it's just pretty incredible. I want to thank my mom. Yeah, she's sitting right here. So just a few things about my mom. She's the strongest person that I've ever met. And a lot of my work ethic comes from her. So she was a single parent. She raised me and my brothers and sisters. There was 4 of us, and my sister's back here, Alicia, and my brother Kendall, he played here as well. He played wide receiver. And I'll talk about how I got here. He's part of that story. But she raised us on her own. We didn't have a father, right? So my father was a professional boxer. He was doing his own thing. And I wasn't part of that agenda, right? So, you know, I remember growing up playing sports. She took me everywhere. You know, every time I had a sporting event, she made sure she was my chauffeur. And I kind of pay it back now because I'm my kid's chauffeur. Yeah, you too. So, and no matter where I played, when I was at Lafayette, we was playing in Northeastern, she was there. We were playing in Princeton, she was there. She's been to every single game that I've ever played in my life. And I just want to tell you that I appreciate that, because that really means a lot. As all athletes will tell you, we can't make it to this stage without great coaches. And I had some great coaches, some mentors and father figures in my life. And I just wanted to mention a couple of those. So a gentleman by the name of Mark Hall in Syracuse, New York, he started a program called the Kirk Park Codes in the south side of Syracuse. And I don't know how many people have been to Syracuse before, but Syracuse is not a city where there's a lot to do, right? A lot of gang activity, things like that. And you know, he came into the park next to my house and started this organization. I remember going home telling my mom I saw that blue helmet with that gold horseshoe, and I was like, Mom, I want to play football. Now, mind you, I've never played football before, right? I grew up playing basketball, I boxed, never played football. So she graciously allowed me to play, and come to find out I was pretty good at it. That was when I was in 7th grade. That's when I met Coach Gibby, and Coach Gibby was instrumental because he showed me what a black man was. I remember Coach Gibby played semi-pro football, and he brought me on his road trips. I was with the team. I was like part of the team, right? So I just want to thank Coach Gibby. I want to thank Coach Ruffin, right? So Coach Ruffin is the reason why I'm here today. He was the head coach at the time for the football team. Coach Clark, who was the head coach in 2003, 2004 when I played. I learned a lot from him as well. I still talk to Coach Clark today. And then lastly, Coach Smith. So I don't know if anybody knows Coach Kelvin Smith or not, but he's the reason why I'm standing here today. That guy was intense, and he made me a great linebacker. So I remember my senior year, and I was having a great year. And I'm like, why would this guy tell me good job? Like the whole year, no matter how hard it hit somebody, the ambulance come, it didn't matter. Coach Smith never told me good job. So after the Pioneer Bowl in Tuskegee, against Tuskegee, he finally told me, man, I've been wanting to tell you the whole time that you had a great year and I'm proud of you. That was one of the things, that was one of the points I realized that coaching is more than just telling somebody what to do. He knew how to motivate me as a player. He knew I was searching for his affection. He knew I was searching for that good job. And when he gave it to me, that meant the world to me. And that's what I try to do right now with the players I coach. I realize every athlete needs to be coached differently. And I recognize that Coach Smith was instrumental. So now, as I said, I'm coaching football now. I've been coaching for 15, 16 years. And I'm paying back the coaches that poured into me by pouring into other kids. So that's what I do. So earlier in my speech, I talked about the fact that I'm not supposed to be here. So one thing that a lot of people don't know about me is when I was very young, I contracted meningitis. I'm talking about 6 months old. And we was on our way to Rochester, New York on a bus to visit my grandparents. And my temperature got so high that the doctors told my mom that she better be lucky if I learned. She better be lucky if I became anything in life. Because my brain had gotten to the point where there was expected brain damage. So I didn't speak until I was 5 years old. And to be standing up here, accepting this prestigious award just goes to show how much work that would do. Because I'm not supposed to be here. If you know meningitis, that's something that's serious. And I just want to, thank my mom for that as well, because she really got me through that, and she really worked with me a lot growing up. It was to the point where my hearing, I wore hearing aids when I was younger. My speech was pretty bad. I see a speech pathologist. Like it was a rough time growing up. So. And, also, a lot of my friends growing up, they were into drugs, like dealing drugs and the streets and stuff like that. And I used sports as an outlet. I talked about playing basketball. I talked about boxing. I did anything. I played volleyball growing up. My kids don't believe me, but I did really play volleyball in the 7th grade 1 year. So I did anything to keep me away from the streets, anything to keep my mind occupied. And, I just wanted to be great in life. And I knew that going down that path wasn't going to help me out. And unfortunately, like a lot of my friends didn't make it. And I want to talk about one of them. So I was really good friends with a kid named Antoine Gary. And we played football together. He was one of my best friends. He lived the street life. I was not really living the street life. But he used to come over. We used to hang out all the time. So Antoine used to always tell me either he was going to go to the state game or he was going to the Penn State. And that's how literal it was. He was an amazing athlete. 6'5", 260 pounds, running 4.40. He had football offers from Miami, Rutgers, anywhere up and down the East Coast offered him. Well, he signed a scholarship to play at Rutgers University, but then he got arrested. So fast forward a couple of years, UMass took a chance on him after he got out of jail. And I was here in the Carolinas, and I told him, I said, I didn't want him to go home for spring break. And I was trying to get him to come down to Myrtle Beach with me for the spring break, so we go to Black Bike Week. I didn't want him to go home. Well, I don't know if I had intuition or not. He went home, and he was killed that week. And Antoine, he was one of my best friends, and he wore number 44. And that was the reason why I wore number 44 when I was at Shaw. So when that number came available, I had to have it because that was honoring one of my best friends, 4'4". So I know I'm getting short on time, but I told you it was much longer than this. So quick story about how it ended up at Shaw. So my brother, back in the back, he was getting recruited to play football, and he ended up at Shaw University. And one day, I don't know what my mom was doing, but she couldn't take him to practice. And, you know, I wasn't playing football at the time. It was in between me playing Lafayette and between Shaw. And I came up, and Coach Ruffin comes up to me. He's like, "You play football?" I'm like, "Yeah." He's like, "You any good?" I'm all right. He threw me a helmet and some shoulder pads and said, "Let me see what you got." Now, mind you, they're in full gear. They have pants on, they have cleats on. I'm out there in a helmet and shoulder pads with no jersey on, just hitting people. And it's funny because my teammates to this day still talk about that. They're like, "Man, you remember when?" I'm like, "Yeah, I remember that." And Coach Ruffin comes over to me and he's like, "Come with me to financial aid office right quick." So I wasn't supposed to be at Shaw either. That's how I ended up at Shaw. And it's amazing hearing how everyone got their journey to Shaw. All unique, but the uniqueness makes us who we are, right? So my last words are to my children. I just want to say I love each and all of you differently, right? So you all hold a special part of my heart. And each one of you are destined for great things in life. You just have to stay the course, always do the right things, and positive things will come. I tell you all the time, focus on the inputs and outputs will come, right? So keep working on being your great selves. I love each one of you, and I'm going to be a #1 fan for the rest of your life, no matter what you guys do. In closing, I just want to thank the committee for allowing me to be in the Hall of Fame. It does really mean a lot to me, especially with my kids and my wife Brittany, being able to see it, my mom and my brother and sister being here. This honor means a lot. I'm going to carry it with me for the rest of my life. Thank you.